So, Danny, you've done the interviews, you've done the rounds. Are you starting to get a sense now of what it's going to be like to be the head coach here with the Coventry Blaze?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's obviously there's going to be a lot of firsts for me here in the next few weeks, but no, I definitely get the sense. I mean, this is an organization that's got a long tradition of success, and that's where they want to be at. So I mean, there's no change in that sense, and hopefully I can bring a few of my elements into an already great organization and kind of mix it up, maybe bring a little bit more identity and character to the on ice product and that everyday kind of day to day in the room as well.
You have to be more nasty as a hockey club to play against because you're one of just a couple of teams now in the Elite League with small ice.
Yeah, I think it's easy to go down that route, but I think it's important. I think people got to come here knowing that they're going to be in for a battle and going to have to compete to take 2 points away from this rink. But in saying that, it's easy to get in your mind and say, look, we need a nasty, mean, tough team, and then all of a sudden, if you're banging teams to death and fighting them to death, but you're not putting any goals up on the board, you're not going to win many hockey games. So as coaches, we all thrive for that perfect balance. And do we ever get it? Probably not. But if you can get as close as you can to getting it right, then you're going to have success. And I think we need a good, fast-paced team. I think on the small ice, it's easy to think you need to be big and physical, but things happen a lot quicker when you have guys that can get to pucks quicker and get back quicker. I think it makes it even tougher for teams to play in the smaller rink with a lot of speed. So, but in saying that, we're definitely going to have an element of physicality as well, and like I said, we'll have that balance, and so we're not taking away our production as well.
When you think of coaches that have influenced you the most in your career, who have they been?
Well, I mean, oh God, if I'm going right back to my younger days, I was obviously fortunate to attend Athol Murray College in Notre Dame in Saskatchewan in Canada. I had great coaches, the likes of Terry O'Malley, Barry McKenzie, Rod Collins. Right into through junior into college, in pros, I'd in my first couple years in pro, Greg Paulsky in Fort Wayne was a smart coach, a great guy. He wasn't a guy that was always talking to us, but away from the rink, but really smart guy, and I learned a lot off him. I think probably down to the fact that it was my first couple years pro, and it was a new experience for me as well. Obviously moving into the country and having playing under Tomo for 4 years, he was definitely influential as well, and I learned a lot off him. And I've had contact with some coaches here in the country as well. An old British legend in Paul Heavey. I've done a lot of hockey schools with him and really picked his brain a lot. And he's a very smart man and a very knowledgeable guy. And I've definitely benefited off having him around every summer as well.
Is that going to be important because you've had one crack at head coaching before? It was short-lived to a certain degree. You've been the associate coach in Fife. Is this going to be a steep learning curve, the summer months and then maybe the first 2 or 3 months of the season?
I don't know if it'll be steep. I mean, it's definitely a challenge, absolutely, and there'll be a lot of, like I said, first for me and things that I'll have to figure out. But I think with my previous experience, I think it prepares me for this opportunity. And like I said, I'm used to kind of getting things thrown at me and handling them well, and handling them, I guess, with the right mentality as well. And we're, as coach, you're always going to face times where you face adversity. You're always going to face times where you're going to have success. And you know what? I think just keeping that even keel is going to be important here in Coventry.
How do you deal with the adversity? Because I guess as a player, it's one thing. You can step out the next shift and you can go and try and set the tone. You don't have that in your toolbox anymore.
No. I think as a coach, if the team, organization, whatever you want to describe it as, is having a little bit of a rough spell. I think as a coach, it's to take the pressure off the players a little bit. I mean, if I got to take things on my shoulder a little bit more often than as a player, then so be it. But at the end of the day, as a coach, you want to make your players comfortable in what they're doing. You want to make them feel good about what they're doing, and they got to show up to the rink every day knowing that they're going to be at their best and they got a chance to win. So I think as a coach, you got to take a little bit more on your shoulders and take the negatives away from your players. But when the positives happen, praise your players and give it to the players, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's the players, not about the coach.
Are you a ranter and raver? You're an emotional player. What are you going to be like in that locker room?
I think I'll surprise a few guys. I think, especially, Tater, Cowley, they played with me, and you might be a little surprised that I'm not actually a ranter or a raver. Will I hold guys accountable when the time is right? Absolutely. Will I be emotional? Absolutely. But I'm not a guy that's going to be on a guy's back every time he comes off the ice. I'm not going to, be there waiting for a guy every time he makes a mistake. But like I said, I'm going to hold guys accountable, and I'm going to have expectations where guys are going to compete every night for me, and if they're not, then they're going to be moved along. And there's a few things in that sense that are non-negotiable, but that's something that shouldn't have to be told to players at this day and age, especially with how this league has progressed. Gone are the days that you can bring guys in that are one-dimensional and show up once every 3 or 4 games. They got to show up every night, and we got to have the right personnel and the right players to do so.
You replace a guy who is legendary in his attention to detail and his video analysis. Is that something that interests you? Is that something that's very much part of what you do as well?
I think at this point, or in this era, I think it's something you have to be attentive to. I did a lot of the analysis video in Fife, and it's something I'll continue to do here. Will I be doing it as much as him? I don't know. I never sat in a room with Chuck Weber before, so I don't like to speculate. But I'll definitely have these guys prepped and prepared night in, night out. And I think within that framework, it's important to give these players a little bit of freedom to do what they already know what they're doing, and not to try to turn them into robots. And not saying anybody ever has, but that's what I'm hoping to bring, and hopefully the players that we bring in will buy into that.
Where are you going to recruit from?
A little bit of everywhere, mixed bag. Obviously, North American leagues. There's some great leagues in Europe, and great young kids out of NCAA. Obviously, playing there for 4 years, I've got some great connections there with some former coaches being still where they are, but have moved on to pastures new in other colleges. So, I think the NCAA or even the CIS are very underappreciated levels of hockey, great levels of hockey, and there's guys going right from there to the NHL. So, I don't think we'll limit ourselves to any one place, because I think you got to explore all your resources and look everywhere if you want to put the best team on the ice.
What's your priority?
Priority right now? Well, obviously we have a great core coming back. I think my priority is to surround those guys we have coming back with similar type of people and similar type of attitudes, but obviously different elements. And guys like Petrus, Robinson, Fisher, we have that offensive production. And do we want to bring in more? Absolutely. With Cowley, Venus, and Tater, we got guys that will produce on our third line, but will give us that solid two-way hockey, play big minutes on our penalty kill, take minutes away from our top six. But if we can find guys that can come in and give us that well-balanced scoring, I think it's important. Now, with a lot of the teams in our league going to 4 lines, we'll look to play. Will we have 4 full lines? I'm not sure yet, but we'll definitely have 10, maybe 11 forwards there in place, so we can roll a 4th unit every once in a while. But I think it's important to have 3 lines in this league that can produce. So we got to find a way to surround these guys with guys that are going to produce for us, but also buy into what they already do.
Ross Venus came through just after you left this hockey club, and he's blossomed into an international player now, a crucial cog in this machine. How important is it going to be for you to try and embrace the whole setup here and see whether you can find the next Ross Venus on the production line?
Yeah, absolutely. I think for all the clubs in the UK, maybe even particularly Coventry, we got to find that next Ross Venus, and you got to continually be looking out there. And if you do find them, you got to get them on board as quick as possible and get them engaged as quick as possible. Obviously, with the increase in imports again, it's a little tougher to do so when it comes in terms of playing time in games and stuff. But if you find a kid that's 16, 17 years old that's physically ready maybe not physically ready, but physically mature enough that they can withstand a practice. You get them up in training, get them used to the day-to-day operations and the day-to-day setup, and get them involved in that sense. And then if there are times where you can get them engaged in a game, that's great. It's a great experience for them, and if that's something we can do, we'll definitely look at it for sure.
What's it going to be like when you turn around and you look down that bench and you see the great big beaming face of James Pease smiling back at you?
Be tough to take him serious at first, but no, you know what, James has done a great job here over the years in what he does, and we're not completely sure what we're gonna do setup wise, but you know, he's definitely a guy that I know I can trust. He's a guy that I definitely know that if I put something in place, that he'll stick to it and not have a better idea. Although off the ice, he definitely has better ideas with whatever we talk about. But no, it'll be good. I think it's important to have people surrounding you that you can trust.
I was going to say, you've got a good relationship with him, though.
Absolutely. You know, me and James have been great friends. You know, he's one of my better friends here in the UK, and you know, it'll be easy to work with him.
You mentioned playing with the likes of Russell Cowley and Ashley Tate previously. What's it going to be like when you have to cross that line and all of a sudden you're their boss?
At the end of the day, we're all professionals, and I think communication's a big thing. I think right from the get-go here, you know, the next couple of weeks we'll sit down with those guys and let them know what our plans are, and I know they'll be on board, and you know what, those are two guys that'll be a big part of our leadership group, and they'll be engaged in a lot of things that we discuss and a lot of things that we want to put in place, because I think it's important for not just for myself to have trust in those guys, and you know, in the discussions that we'll have, I think we'll make it evident that I'll rely heavily on those guys, and you know, within the room, you know, keeping guys accountable as well when I'm not around. I mean, coach can't be around all the time, and there's certain areas in the game, often on the ice, that you can't be engaged with. So it's really important that those guys are involved, and they're guys I definitely trust, or I don't think they would be here, and they're definitely guys that I'll rely heavily on.
Top 5 in the Elite League, quarterfinal of the Challenge Cup, minimum expectations at this hockey club. How does that make you feel?
Whose expectations are those?
That's what Peasy said.
I might have higher expectations than Peasy then. No, listen, at the end of the day, I'm not going to come in here my first day on the job and make excuses. Are we as high budget as other teams? I don't know. I don't know what their budgets are. Are we as high profile? Maybe not. But at the end of the day, we're shooting to be top 4. We're shooting to progress in all these competitions, and we're shooting to win some silverware. I mean, I think it's a possibility, and you know, it takes smart recruiting, it takes smart day-to-day operations, and absolutely it takes staying healthy in this league. You know, we don't have the luxury here in the UK to replace a guy like for like. If a guy goes down, you have 3 guys waiting in the stands. So we won't have that luxury, but listen, my job is to bring in a team that's going to compete every night and compete for silverware, and that's what I'm aiming to do.
And of those you've played against in this Coventry Blaze team that are going to be back, who are you most looking forward to coaching?
Of the players?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it. Maybe Tater, because I haven't coached a guy older than myself yet. I don't think so. But no, look, I'm excited to coach all of them. I know you'll find out quick. I'm not a guy that likes to single guys out. You know, maybe if it's to praise them in a day. I know a guy like Jordan Preachus. He's a guy that I had been in contact before. You know, I tried my best to get him in Fife one year, and unfortunately it didn't work out. And so it'd be good to work with him day to day. But I've heard great things about all these guys. You know, having a guy like Stewie there at the back. You know, stopping pucks. That's going to be exciting to have, and be my job to put a team in place and put personnel in place that'll protect him as well. And you know, I'm excited about all of them. I've heard nothing but great things about every single one of them, and that's the reason why they're back in place. Just
finally, give us a message to the fans. Fans will be watching this, and they'll be excited, I would imagine, at the prospect of having one of their greats, one of the legends of this hockey club back here and back behind the bench.
I think you know, I'm not going to come here and get ahead of myself. You know what, we're gonna work hard all summer and to put a team in place that all these fans and not just the fans, but the organization and the returning players can be proud of and know that they're going to compete with every day. And I think if you can do that and build that that environment where guys want to come to the rink every day, they have fun, they enjoy themselves, but not lack the work ethic. You find that balance, then you know that product will show on the ice and it'll show up into the fans. So you know what, I think Coventry fans are great here. You know what, they're vocal, they're opinionated, absolutely, but they're a great set of fans. And you know what, you know, from what I've been talking to these guys about, the crowds have been great lately, and that's great, and I'm excited about that, and hopefully we can entertain them all year.